Hi, I'm John Cousins, and today I'm going to discuss deep learning and some of the concepts surrounding it. So what is deep learning? Deep learning utilizes a hierarchical structure of artificial neural networks. Deep learning came from looking at the human brain and trying to see how that processed information and see if that could be reconfigured and structured in a computer, algorithms, and hardware. So it's based on the human brain and how neurons are connected. The main part of it is perceptrons. And perceptrons are, it's a cool word, right? Perceptrons, they're basically artificial neurons. And what they were, that word was coined in the late 50s, so it has that sort of mid-century futurist kind of connotation, perceptrons. I love it. And so basically what a perceptron is a node with inputs and outputs and a function in between. Let me diagram that out and we can get a better understanding of what a perceptron is. So a perceptron is basically a node, and it has a bunch of inputs, and each one of these inputs, let's call them X, Y, and Z, each one of these inputs then is weighted, so each one has a weight, and then in here those are summed, and then there's a function that determines what the output is going to be. And this function can be either a step function, where it's either taking these and crossing some kind of threshold and then giving an output of a 0 or 1, a yes or no, or it can be a continuous function that gives some sort of weighted output here. And then there's a whole bunch of these perceptrons in a neural network, and then these outputs, these inputs, and then these outputs, then the output becomes the input to the next bunch of perceptrons in the next layer. And so between these two things, we have layers of, we have an input layer of perceptrons, or nodes, we call them nodes, and then we have layers in between, and then we have finally the output layer. And the output layer is going to determine what the signals actually categorize. And so this is basically the structure. So we have this input layer, and then we have some in-between layers, and then we have the output layer. And these in-between layers, this is where deep learning gets its name. These are called hidden layers, right? These are called hidden layers, and there could be several of these layers or a bunch of these layers, and this is really where the activity of discerning the information that comes in takes place. So in the architecture of deep learning, the neural networks, feature extraction, instead of being at the beginning where we do it with a lot of different machine learning algorithms, feature extraction is actually performed in those hidden layers. And the learning occurs iteratively as you go through. There's what we call forward propagation, which goes forward through this neural network. And then with these outputs, there's what we call backpropagation. And backpropagation takes the error that's happening out here in these and feeds it back through the different layers of nodes, and then adjusts for what is happening in those nodes, what the weights are, and it readjusts those weights to reduce the error. And as it goes through, this is done iteratively, right? So it goes through, it goes a forward propagation, and then it does a back propagation, and then goes back through and does this until the error is minimized. So back propagation is just a way of propagating the total loss back through the neural network to know how much of the loss every node is responsible for, and then updating those weights in a way that minimizes the loss. So that's it. That's basically my introductory talk on neural networks, nodes, how they work, the functions, the forward propagation, back propagation, and I'll talk to you next time.